Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our PGCEi session this evening, webinar session for all students in the Middle East. And I think we have guests from elsewhere around the globe, so welcome. We're very pleased to see you. I'm Alison. I work at the University of Nottingham, and I'm going to be hosting this evening and giving you as much information as I can. And at the end of my presentation, I'm very happy to take questions. Gaia, who works at Stafford, is going to help out with this. And our normal colleague, Helen, who would normally join me on this broadcast, I'm afraid she's ill tonight. So we do send her good wishes for a very speedy recovery. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of information to start off with about Stafford. Stafford was established in 1993, and it's a resource centre for distance learning in education in the Middle East. And it's currently a resource centre for 6 UK universities, and Stafford offers a variety of programmes, including certificates, diplomas, bachelors, MBA, MSc, and doctorates. And Stafford offers a fantastic academic and administrative support for all students. And I must say, from the perspective of the University of Nottingham, we do enjoy a really good relationship with Stafford. And I think it benefits you as prospective students that we have this close communication. But I'm going to talk to you tonight from the perspective of the university itself. You probably know this, but the University of Nottingham is a member of the prestigious Russell Group of universities and is really well known globally for its research-led teaching. It's a really popular university in the UK, both for undergraduates and also for graduates, postgrads, and we do have campuses in China and Malaysia, so we have a very strong international feel about the university too. It is internationally recognised for groundbreaking research and teaching excellence, which I always think is a really positive point for prospective students. I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about the Postgraduate Certificate in Education International. It's a course that the university is very proud of, and it's been built over the last 10 years around the world. And we have now at least 5,000 graduates from this course. Its strength lies in that it is a blended programme. It's a blended learning programme for professional educators to enrich your experience. You're working in other countries other than the UK. The strength of the blended programme lies in the fact that part of the course will be done online, with you working in your own situation, your own context. But the other part is where you will come to a central place, which at the moment is based in Ajman, and you will meet your tutor over 2 days, twice during the year. So you have an opportunity here to get to know your tutor at the university really well. And you also have a chance to get to know fellow students. And because we think it's really important to build these professional relationships, we work during the programme face-to-face in smaller teaching groups. So you'll be working in a teaching group of no more than 15 to 20 students over the 2 days. So this does mean that you can cement relationships, and we all feel as tutors that the quality of the interaction that goes on across the student body, but also with tutors, is very, very of high quality. And I think it gives you a really good start for the online learning part of the course. So I've already mentioned the face-to-face workshops. We came back last month, the first time in 3 years because of COVID. I came to the UAE with 4 other tutors, and we did our first face-to-face of a new programme. And it was wonderful. It was exciting. We had high-level discussions with each other, and I think I would recommend it highly, rather than just doing a course which is simply online. It's the interaction that goes on a blended learning programme that makes it so special. during the course, which focuses on reflecting on your own individual practice through theory. We hope that this is going to enable you to deepen your understanding of the learning process, but it also gives you a chance to compare learning approaches across different countries. And that's really important. I think it's a course which I would recommend for teachers or educators who are working in early years, very suitable, primary, very suitable, and secondary teachers, because the programme itself focuses on learning and the importance of learning and lots of strategies around the process of learning and teaching that make it successful for all of you who are working across that rather large arena of early years right up to secondary A levels, IB certificates. And we do sometimes have tutors from coming as students to the course from universities. So it's a very well respected course for that wide range of contexts from which you come. I'm going to look a little bit now at the course structure and try to explain to you what this means and what it would mean to you as an online learner. You can see that the course itself consists of 3 compulsory modules, which must be covered in sequence, and it is important that you pass each of those modules. They are standalone as an online part of the course, but they do have links and threads which run right across the 3 parts of it. And if you look at the headings there, which look at educational aims and values, understanding learning and teaching, and inquiring into educational practice, you'll see there that the common factor that this is, all 3 are in international contexts. And we do try really hard to make this course one which fits into that international context from which you're coming. Within each of those modules, you'll be expected to do quite a bit of reading and quite a number of activities, which sometimes they're written activities and sometimes you're asked to discuss things online with other students. And all the resources for this work you will find online. You don't have to buy anything. And students do tell me that the programme is very well written in that it's sequential, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to follow through. I think it is, but it's interesting to know that that's what students think as well. We're often asked, well, how much time do I need to spend studying? As all of you, I'm sure, have got daytime jobs as well. We recommend between about 12 and 13 hours a week is about what you need to do to be able to get through the course in the time allocated. But of course, it's entirely up to you how you plan that programme. Some students like to do a little bit every night, and some students like to concentrate working on the course at weekends. But it is important that you establish a good working ethic for yourself and that you do have a good plan of how you're going to fit this course into your other life. So each of the module course of the coursework is followed and assessed by a 4,000-word assignment. Sometimes students groan and say that seems a lot. Once you start writing an assignment with clear directions and clear title, you'll find it soon, the words soon disappear, and 4,000 words are not as long as you imagine. So one of the things that I think is very positive about this particular course is that once you've completed the course successfully, and you need to complete the course successfully by gaining marks of 53 or above for those 3 assignments, you do have access immediately to following up with an MA at the University of Nottingham. And it could be an MA in education, it could be an MA in special needs or educational leadership. All of these are available as soon as you successfully complete the course. And as with the PGCEi, all the materials for your MA will be online, and you would have an individual tutor with support and group discussions online. And I should have said, with the PGCEi course, you will have a personal tutor, and this will be the person you meet on the face-to-face. That will be your personal tutor for the whole of the PGCEi course. And you can expect feedback from your tutor for all the pieces of work that you do, as well as group tutorials regularly. So although you're working online, online can be an advantage, and that means that the tutorials are online, group tutorials, which enable you to discuss things with your tutors and also with your fellow students. And that again is a real strength of the course. So if you're interested in this course, and I really, really hope you are, what are the entry requirements? Well, you do need a bachelor's degree with at least a second class honours or an equivalent, or an approved professional qualification to a second class equivalent to a second class honours degree. And if you're not sure about that, whether that would work, I would strongly advise you to talk to the academic consultants at Stafford. They will be able to help you and give you really, really interesting and appropriate advice. So please don't hesitate to discuss if you have a query about whether your qualifications would be relevant. If English is not your first language, you do need to achieve an IELTS academic with a 6.5 minimum score and with no less than 6.0 in all the 4 elements of speaking, reading, and writing. That's really, really important. And again, if you need more advice about that, please do talk to one of the academic consultants. So who is the course for? Well, I've already mentioned earlier that it's for professional educators. You should be an established educator with day-to-day access to a computer and the internet, and with regular connections to an educational context. So you may be a well-established teacher in a school and have been there for a while. You may be a new teacher in a school. You may be a teaching assistant in a school, or you may be a teacher working online. All of those are very acceptable. You may not be currently a teacher yet, and you may be a volunteer in a school. That's good, and that's fine. And we do actually recommend that you do have this access to an educational context. So if that's not a regular connection, please do make sure that you have some connection which becomes regular, even if you are doing that on a voluntary basis. Because some of the work, particularly in modules 2 and 3, do require you to have access to students and classrooms. And I think I alluded earlier to the fact that non-standard applications are welcomed, and those will be considered on a case-by-case basis. So if you're not sure, please again ask the academic consultants, they will advise you. But we do welcome non-standard applications. So in order to make this application, you will need a degree certificate and academic transcript. You'll need a reference, and this could be an academic reference or a work-related reference. You need to make a personal statement of approximately 700 words. This is really important, and it's important to be very specific about your interest in the course and why you'd like to do it. So please think carefully about those 700 words. And also it's important to put together a detailed CV, all the things that you might have done, which might not necessarily be education related, but show that you've done interesting things with your life. You need to access the University of Nottingham application form, and you will need a copy of your passport and proof of your competency in English. So just to encourage you further, we're currently accepting applications, even at this early stage, for our next course, which begins in March 2023. This will very much be a 2-part face-to-face course. And the March part in 2023 will start in UAE, in Ajman, and that will be a 2-day workshops, which will be followed by you working online on the course materials. And then we will meet again the following October 2023 for another 2-day workshops. I think, as I said earlier, this is the strength of the course. And having just done that again last month, I realised again for myself how important it is to see people face to face and make those professional relationships. So the programme is actually compulsory. You do need to be part of that workshop if you're going to be part of the course, but I'll come to that in a moment. So the programme starts on March the 1st, but application deadline for the course is the 1st of February. And although that sounds a long time away, I would honestly encourage you to apply as soon as you can, because places are limited on the course for each of those cohorts. And it would be a shame to apply too late and be disappointed. I've already mentioned the 2-day induction programme, which are interactive workshops. There's lots of discussion, lots of input from tutors. It's pretty hard work, but it's really enjoyable. And as I say, attendance is actually compulsory, so you can see the dates there. And please look ahead and note that those 2 dates you will need to be part of the course. Okay. You'll also note the fee for the course, and also application fee 700 payable on the submission of your application. Again, if you need more details about the financial side of this, please do contact Stafford and they will be absolutely able to help you. So I'm going to stop at that point because I've given you some ideas of the course, I've given you an outline of the course, and I've given you some of the dates for the next cohorts that we are receiving applications for at the moment. So Gaia, I think you're going to help us out, aren't you, with some of the questions. And you'll really, please do feel that you can ask any questions. We may not be able to answer all of the questions, but we will do our best. So over to you.
All right, first question is, can the program be accelerated to complete it in a shorter time frame?
Much as we would like to, the simple answer is no, because there is quite a lot of work to do. And we're not giving you work for the sake of it, it's because the work, the course materials are all important. And there's quite a lot of reading and writing, and it's a sequential program. Plus the fact that during that program, it's important that you do contact other people. We do have a forum as part of the course, which enables you to send messages to your fellow students and discuss things online. So it is quite a short course anyway. In actual fact, it's about 11 months rather than a year. So no, the accelerated part of it, I'm afraid, is not available.
The next question is, I have professional qualifications in education, but no bachelor's degree. Will I be accepted on the program?
I think it's highly likely, but my advice to you is that you have a discussion, first of all, with Stafford, with the academic consultants, just to check out what your qualifications and your experience is, and they will be able to advise you, and they will help you put together your application that goes through to the University of Nottingham. So I would be very encouraging.
All right, next question is, what is the role of the school in this process? Do they need to be involved?
No, they don't actually. I think it's a matter of courtesy that you involve the school and you tell your fellow colleagues, your principal, that you're going to be part of the course. But there's no expectation that the school will have any particular practical part of this. So there is no role for the school. So it should be very straightforward. The very last part of the course is where you're asked to do a piece of personal research. And this is within the context of your own teaching, your own environment. So we do at that stage ask you to ask permission of your principal and you will be working with a very small group of students. So you need to ask permission of your principal if this is okay to do this. And for the majority of cases, it's perfectly fine to just do it. In some instances, you would be asking permission of the parents for their students to take part in this. But this is part of the process that the university would help you with. And we give you forms to share with parents in order to gain their consent. So we do it ethically. It's very important to do it ethically. But just back to the main part of your question is that there is no, apart from that, there is no role that the school is expected to play.
Our next question is, would the word online appear on my degree certificate?
Well, that's a very good question, and I'm often asked that, and the very simple answer is no. There's nothing on the certificate which indicates that this is an online programme, and that's because it genuinely isn't just an online programme, it's because it's a blended programme. And if we can do the face-to-face workshops with you and the blended part of it, it does make it a very special course. But the answer to your question is no, and there has never been anything on the certificates which says online.
All right. The next question is, if I used to be a teacher but no longer work, would that experience be enough to put me in the program?
Yes, absolutely it would. And you would have a lot to offer, I'm sure. All your earlier experiences could be brought into the context of the course and would be welcomed. I think as part of the course, though, as I said earlier, you would need to perhaps volunteer in a school during the part of the course that you'd be working on it, because you do need to have access to classrooms and students. So I would recommend that you volunteered. It doesn't have to be every day. It could be once a week, twice a week, but that you do have access to a school environment for the course. But yes, if you have a teaching qualification, that's excellent, and it would be very relevant.
Do we have the option to graduate on campus when we get our certificate?
Yes, you do, and you'd be very welcomed. Before COVID, we had a number of students who travelled to the UK, to Nottingham, to receive their certificates face to face, and you are very welcomed. So yes, the simple answer to that again is yes. We do understand though, for some students, it's difficult and impossible, but your name is, even if you're not there, your name is read out in front of everyone. So you are part of that ceremony, even if you're not physically there. And then of course your certificates will be sent to you. Okay.
The next one is, if English is not my first language, but I teach in English, is there an exemption to do the IELTS?
At the moment, no. I'm afraid you do need to do the IELTS, and it does need to be the academic one. But again, I think that it's worth a discussion with the academic consultants at Stafford so that you can explain exactly what qualifications you do have and what your current responsibilities are. So I'd recommend that conversation.
If for a reason I cannot make the workshop or miss a workshop, what happens then?
Well, you'd be asked to join the next course. So, for example, if you do need to attend both days in March, the 17th and the 18th. If you can't, for whatever reason, and you know that at this stage, then we would suggest that you looked at the next October course, because it is compulsory that you are there for the 2 days.
I think the question was if circumstances came up and they had no choice in terms of missing one of the days, can they make up for it?
Well, I think the university is humane and listens to reasons why people couldn't make it, because obviously we get sick, and it may be that somebody gets sick on one of those days. But the university is quite strict about this and doesn't particularly waive excuses. You know, excuses are seen as quite difficult areas, because it is important for you to be, because part of the the course is working with other people. It's not just about catching up. But having said that, of course, there is a humane side to this, and I can think of a number of students who have managed to fulfill the course requirements with a little bit missing from the 2 days, but that would be very unusual.
All right. Are there any forms that the principal of a school needs to fill in for me to apply for the program?
No, absolutely not. No. Simple answer to that question.
Will my expired IELTS be accepted? It was used for my bachelor's admission, or do I need to take a new one?
Well, again, I would have that conversation with the academic consultants because I genuinely don't know the answer to that. But so I think it would be, that would make a very positive conversation just to check it out. Yeah.
Will I receive a QTS by the end of the course?
No, it's not a course which leads to QTS, but it does lead to you having the theoretical part of QTS status. So you would just need to add to that the practical assessment. And some of that is already happening in the UAE, and some of it is happening in the UK as well. So you would have to do that and find and source that for yourself to make sure that you could do the practical side of the assessment.
How do we apply officially?
First of all, you contact Stafford and have a discussion with one of the academic consultants, and they will give you lots of information and answer your questions, and they will help you get access to the Nottingham University form, as well as sorting out the financial side. Stafford sort out the financial side of your being part of that course. So they will give you information about the two parts.
Thank you. There are a few questions, unfortunately, I will be unable to answer. That's usually answered by Helen, who is our head of admissions, but she's not well. I suggest that if you can please get in touch with your personal academic consultant and ask them these questions directly, they will answer them for you. It has to do with some of the questions that are more locally centric. That is outside of what Alison would be able to give you more clarity on. So thank you for today, Alison.
Oh, thank you, Gaia. It's very nice to hear you. And thank you, everyone for joining us. And I do hope I've encouraged you to make an application. And we look forward to seeing you on one of our courses. Thank you.